Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Okay, great.
I just got a reminder that we're starting in 10 minutes. No, actually, we started already. So yeah,
It's
it
great to
looks like
see you, Jonathan.
you too. It looks like it is recording, so we should be good. Because I don't pay for
Great.
Zoom, apparently it's only like a 40-minute meeting. So, I mean, I feel like
That's
that should be
fine.
plenty, right? So let's
Yeah, that's great.
just,
I'm honored to be on this.
well, thanks for agreeing to do this. Let me see here.
Thank
I
you.
am looking to see if I can, maybe I should print this out so I don't have to keep referring to my phone. But this is the spread I use. It's by
Great.
Emerald Lotus Divination. I don't know if you've heard of. God, what's her name?
No, I don't know Emerald Lotus.
I'm blanking on her name, but Emerald Lotus Divination, if you Google that, she has her own website. She's on Pinterest, and I believe she's also on Instagram. She comes up with the most amazing tarot spreads. Like,
I have to look at that because
yeah,
that one looks amazing, and I just love the graphic in the background.
all of her, it's just like every single one of her spreads is like that, where it's just gorgeous and it's just so deep. I mean, she has one, do I have it handy? She has one, this one's amazing. Another one of hers, it's Standing in Your Power.
Cool.
Yeah.
I have to try these.
Every single one I've ever done with her stuff has just been like, oh.
Right.
There's another one somewhere that I can't find right now, but it's one specifically for witches to find out what your best skills in witchcraft are and stuff, and it's just such a cool spread. But I figure since we're talking about past lives, this one's one I use on a regular basis for people, and it's confronting past lives and mending the soul. So even though it doesn't talk about specifics about what your past life was, it kind of brings out like who you were, what thing kind of like caused issues in that past life and is still causing issues in this life. So, and also the last card, the seventh card, is what energy or characteristic from that past life you should be channeling into this life. I grabbed this deck. I don't know if you've seen this one yet. Tarot of the Divine.
I've seen it everywhere. I don't have it, so I'm excited to see it.
I pre-ordered it almost a year before it was released. So yeah, I think it was like last November, December that I pre-ordered it. Because I saw like just a couple of the pictures and I'm like, I have to get that. I love the backs of the cards too.
I've heard a lot about it. The back is beautiful.
And it's a linen finish, so it's just like probably one of the best cardstocks I've ever seen as far as like mass market. And it's
I enjoy a good linen finish.
Clarkston Potter Publishers. It's an imprint of Penguin Random House, which is just like, they do that. So
that's so cool. Who do you have behind you on your altar? Behind you, the standing figure.
So I have Ganesh.
Okay, I like that.
This is a beautiful wooden Buddha that I got here.
Wooden, I like that.
Yeah. And then I have my grandmother's menorah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, old school.
With
I
the
need to clean it.
I like it.
And then one of my best treasures was this incense burner I got in China, and it's all Kuan Yin.
Is that jade below?
Yeah, it's jade and silver.
Ooh, nice.
And it's an antique. Like, I don't even know how old it is.
It looks like
It's missing the chains because it used to be like, you know, a sensor,
right.
right? But you can see it's totally surrounded by Kuan Yins, and there's a gorgeous Kuan Yin sitting on top.
That's amazing. I love it. Oh no, I hear children. That's what I do not want.
I shooed my child into his room with an iPad to watch YouTube videos.
My father will wrangle them because he knows I'm on the call.
Right. I understand.
I love that picture.
So yeah, and then there's a couple other just like stone Buddhas that I'm not going to pick up because they're kind of heavy.
Cool. Thanks.
Of course. And then my shadow figures from Indonesia that actually my mom got me in Thailand.
That's what I was curious about. Their shadow. Oh, now I see their shadow figures.
They're the shadow puppets, right?
Yes, the shadow puppets from Indonesia. Oh, that's cool. That's what I was wondering. Nice.
I've had those on my wall since for like 20 years now.
Wow. These paintings my father did.
Your father did? Yeah.
But my father did. That's my grandfather.
I have my artwork around. I don't know if there's anything handy. Nothing I can grab right now, but I paint myself. Acrylic, and then I started playing with acrylic pouring, and then I would do a layer of epoxy resin on top just to give it a little extra shine and stuff. Yeah.
What do you make? Am I distracting your shuffling?
No.
Okay. I'm curious.
Are you kidding? I can shuffle in the air.
Oh, you're better than me. I'm like, they're going everywhere. When you do that, what are you making? Like, when you do the epoxy resin and everything, are you doing like a painting, or are you actually doing it on stuff too?
I've done several different, I guess you'd call it mixed media. The first 3 were or I guess 4 were paintings, but they weren't really like, they were more of like an acrylic pour. I don't know if you've heard that term.
I have.
Yeah. So I did a couple that are just like regular acrylic pours. A couple I did very specific kind of pouring. So like, I'll have to take some pictures and send to you.
I want to see.
And then my most recent one, I did this painting that is really heavy because I also like made a mask as part of the painting.
So it's very thick. It has a lot of layers.
Oh, so many layers. I think I have like 7 layers of epoxy on there. And that was it's a mask on a wooden canvas, and it's actually, let me just go grab it. It's easier to just show you because it's sitting on my desk right now.
Yeah. A wooden canvas. That seems very interesting. Wow, I have to see this now. A lot of people in my family are into art, so I'm like always interested in everyone's art. It's like a very artsy family. Ooh.
Oh God, this thing's heavy.
Oh, I had an aunt and uncle who collected art, and that really looks like a piece they would have collected. It would have been on their wall. I was so scared of their house. They had all kinds of masks. That is so cool.
So this is, I call this piece, Piecing Myself Together Before I Melt Away.
I'm curious though, what does your son think of that?
Oh, he thinks it's cool.
Okay, he's not scared. I was scared of like everything.
No.
It's really beautiful.
You know what? Though. He doesn't get scared of much.
That's good.
Yeah, so one side is all, it's mosaic, and it's all shell pieces and glass. And then the other side is just the plain mask I painted, and then I have, I used a hot glue gun to make the drips.
I love it. That's pretty cool. That's like an art piece that someone would buy and have on their wall.
This was my piece that I entered into the Art Maui uh, there's a once a year expo, Art Maui, where they do art for all the different artists on Maui, which apparently is, I don't know when I moved here, but it's apparently one of the artist hotspots in the whole world.
Wow.
Yeah. And I got in once with a
Beautiful
half
place.
mask. So,
I can see artists being attracted to living in Maui because it's beautiful.
right? Yeah. Okay. I need to reopen my phone so I can. You know, it's funny. I've been using this spread for a long time, but I always like refer to the picture because it just, I don't know, it helps. So
Oh, whatever will work, I always say.
I always feel though, because, I have a lot of friends who are professionals. They're like, you're not supposed to reference anything.
You
You
say
know,
that
yeah, right.
as
Don't
long
look at
as
the
the
book.
reading, well, as long as I don't know, as long as the reading's good. So you know what I have, what I do, what I always did. I haven't been giving readings lately since my son has been born, like as much as I did before. But
Mhm.
what I did is I had a sheet that had the layout on it with like blank lines. So I would fill it in as I was reading for the person, and I kept files, and I would have a file for myself and one for them to
That's
write notes.
awesome.
So it was like part of the reading. It was like, this
Right.
is your file. So, because they would come back to me and they'd be like, what was that card that I got that time that you said this? And I'd be like, let's pull out file.
That's actually why I was really happy to discover YouTube had unlisted videos, because now it's like I don't even do face to face usually. I just like, okay, you tell me what you want a reading about, and then I set up my camera so you're just seeing the spread happen as I'm doing it, and then that way I
Right,
post it unlisted and they can watch it as many times as they want.
right.
So
Absolutely. That's pretty
I just had a
cool.
jumper, which I think is very funny. So
Ooh,
that's the Empress card.
it's,
So very, very mother energy, which you're definitely
it's
got the
very
mother
interesting.
energy going on, right? And it's the Virgin of Guadalupe.
It's very interesting.
Very interesting that that was the jumper for me right now.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I think what I'll do is I'll just lay out the
A
7
big,
cards and
I like
then
a big
we will
orb
go
and back.
through. Okay. Whoa, okay. Interesting. Okay. I'm gonna also take a picture of this too. That way I can send it to you when we're done.
Sure.
So card 1 represents you in the relevant past life, whichever life is coming through for us right now, and we get the devil,
Ooh,
right? Um,
this, that's interesting.
and it's so this is based off of a oh god, what was it? It was Brazilian, I think, a Brazilian legend of this snake that like was the cause of forest fires and stuff. But for us, the devil is all about giving in to your addictions, your negative feelings. And in the traditional devil card, the two people are turning into devils themselves, right? So in that past life, which is very interesting for me because I just did another past life reading and they also got the devil in this exact same spot. So it's like you turned to that side of yourself in order to protect yourself, is what I'm getting. And it's interesting too because the second card is something unresolved from your past life, and we get the world. But here we see this like loving relationship instead of the traditional like hermaphrodite floating in space.
Mhm.
Um, so it's for me, it's like you are in this loving relationship and something happened that caused you to turn to your vices to protect yourself, to deal with the situation, so to speak.
Can I tell you something interesting?
Huh.
So Sierra Bender, author of Goddess to the Core, let's say that, she and I were very close. Right now we're not because of just like work. She's doing her thing and I'm doing my thing, but I worked
Right.
very closely with her, and she's like my big sister, my spiritual mentor. And when I first met her, we did soul searching together. And she was like, she told me something and I was like really embarrassed. I didn't want to tell anyone, but she was like, I see black magic. She was like, in your last life. She was like, I see dark black magic. Like you went to, she's like, sorcery. She was like, from your last life. She was like, we knew each other and you went there, like something like, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, no, like I wouldn't do that. But
Right.
that's what she was. So it's very interesting that you got that, because that was something that she saw too. And I was like, why would I do that? You know?
What if you got burnt by a relationship that was your whole world? I mean, I could see that. You deciding to turn the fire against the guy, right? Or the woman, if you were the guy. Um,
Right.
so it's interesting too, because the third card is, how is this past life affecting you today? And we have Five of Wands. So the interesting thing about this Five of Wands in this particular deck is it's about these five brothers that, you know, support each other and love each other, but they also enjoy sparring with each other. So this is a less harsh Five of Wands that I'm used to seeing, because it's like, yes, it is conflict, but it's conflict in a way that's playful. So it's almost like the conflict is that, like, it's something you enjoy in a way, is conflict. That's just what I'm getting from this card,
Uh-huh.
because it's like I said, it just I mean, look at their faces. They're all like having a good time while they're fighting.
That's interesting. I wonder if that means that if the person that it was very like serious against within the last life is in this life with me, and we've kind of turned it into like a, like
A
I don't even
play
know what it could
fight.
be. It could be my brother. My brother and
Right.
I, we used to have like play fighting and sibling rivalry. It could be I don't
Well,
know,
that
like
actually
family
makes sense,
members.
because these are five brothers, right?
Yes, when you said brothers,
Right.
I'm like, could it be my brother? It could have
Right.
even been my mother, you know. She's no longer around, but that wasn't like fun. Me and my brother more like, you know, joking around.
Right. You fight to have fun, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
So we really do. We really do.
so I feel like it's like that devilish side of you just likes to have fun by, you know, not necessarily causing strife, but strife is fun for
Right.
you, right? Um,
Right. My brother and I
for
do like a joking kind of thing where I'm like, no, Lewis, you're doing it all wrong. You've seen it on lives where I'm like, you're doing it all wrong. And he's like, oh, you know, like it's our
right,
game. So
yeah,
that made me,
that's funny. That's interesting. So the interesting thing too for me is card four is why you need to complete this unresolved issue, and we have the Knight of Coins. Actually, I know I'm not supposed to use the book, but I want to remember what this legend is, because I don't, like, it's not sparking a memory for me.
yeah, go ahead.
So this is a South African Khoi Khoi deity. They His Ebi can be as stubborn as an ox, getting into trouble for his efforts. He is strong, loyal, and determined to do to all things he sets his mind to. So, okay, that kind of fits in with the whole idea of like play fighting, because this is someone who's like very stubborn, very set in their ways, wanting to do things their way and get things the way they want to get them. So,
And what was the position again?
so this is number four, why you need to complete this unresolved issue. So it's like, I feel like this talking about being stubborn is that same idea of like things didn't go your way in the past life, so you lashed out at others, and it's now kind of like a plaything in this life, but it's still like that feeling of like you have to have your way because you didn't get your way in the last
That's so
life.
funny.
Or being
Yeah, I
open
feel like a
to,
big part of, right. I feel like a big part of life that I've learned in this life is to be flexible.
right.
And I think when I was younger, I was more stubborn, whereas I got older, I was like just to go with the flow.
Well,
And
that's
maybe
exactly what this is talking
that's
about, right?
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I came into this life to learn.
And then
Because if
5,
someone burned me, I wouldn't go after them.
right. Well, right, because 5, and also this is also might just be talking about stuff you've already worked through in this life. It's just something that you are working through in this life, right? Because 5 is how you can complete this unresolved issue, and we have the strength card. And it's the story of Tam Lin. So the redhead woman finds this guy in a garden and talks to him for a while, and then goes home and discovers she's pregnant. And like, but what? And
Wait,
right. And then so she goes back to
wait,
try and
what?
find the guy, and it turns out he's been stolen away by the fairies, and he has a little bit of fairy magic. That's why she ended up being pregnant, just by talking with him.
This sounds
And
familiar.
he loves her, but the only way that they can be together is if she steals him back away from the fae. And she's
Yes, I did.
right. So the story is she finds the procession, the fairy procession, sees him in there, grabs a hold of him, and the fairy queen keeps turning him into different monsters. That's why he's like, he is that monster, right? So she has to hold on until dawn, basically.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
gonna hold on until dawn.
so that's why there's also like little sparkles around the guy, because he's changing from a lion to an alligator or whatever. Um,
Okay.
so she finally is able to free him and then get married and live happily ever after, whatever. So, but the how you can complete the unresolved issue is strength, right? Is having the strength to know that you don't always get your way, that you're being, strength is also being flexible, right? As you were saying, is being able to just roll with the punches, so to speak. So I
Yeah.
think you're already in the process of working through this issue that you had, this,
Right. I
right,
would say I'm
devil.
completely different in that way than when I was earlier in this lifetime.
Right.
I was very much like trying to control everything. I mean, like when I was younger, like a child and everything. I guess because I felt like my life was so out of control, I was trying to like control everything.
Right.
And my biggest thing now is just like, oh, it didn't go that way. Okay, it just wasn't that way. I'm just gonna move it in this direction. Let's try it like that. So that's
Mm-hmm.
been my greatest lesson.
Right.
Um,
And
so
that's
that
exactly what you're being asked to do here is,
and you know what I heard regarding that story? I believe it was in the fairy book that I was reading a while ago. What was that? Fairy Magic, the Forbidden Art of Fairy Magic, or something like that. By
mm-hmm.
I I, I just forgot the name, but I think they were talking also about the shadow self
Right.
with that story, like embracing your shadow self,
That
something
makes
like that.
sense. Yeah. Because the Fae always like to turn our weaknesses against ourselves. So
Yeah.
makes sense. Important lesson you must understand fully. That's the 6th card here. And we have 7 of Wands. And it's the John Henry story for that card. Um, so important lesson you must understand fully is, we have a lot of wands here. That's what I'm noticing.
On
Because
Henry.
right. So John Henry is that story of the guy who is like,
I know.
yeah, everyone knows that story.
I remember the song.
So if you notice
He laid down his hammer and he died. That was the last.
Exactly. So, and the hammer is that seventh wand.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Trying to beat the steam engine, I think it was.
there was a train track laying machine, and he said he could do
Yeah.
better than the machine, and they did like this contest, and
And
he
then
won, but it cost him his life.
it cost him his life. I
Right.
remember. And then he laid down his hammer and he died. I remember that last line. That hit me. I think I learned that song when I was 8.
Yeah.
Uh,
So that's the
uh,
important lesson you must understand fully, is like, to actually win, get your way, sometimes you have to lay down your life, right?
yeah.
So,
I think it's a really great lesson in energy, because that was another lesson that I've been working on, is kind of like when to say no and when to
mhm,
not give my 100%, when to back off, when I have to listen to my own energy and strength, and
right,
that I don't always have to beat, as he was beating that
the machine, yeah,
the machine, uh that I don't always have to, you know,
right,
to winning doesn't always mean beating something or going over and above something like that. But
right. And it
that's
kind
gonna
of
be
ties in with the strength card too, how it's like, strength isn't always being the strongest person, it's being the one that's most patient or most flexible, or strength comes in many forms.
Mhm.
And you don't have to give 110% if it's going to cost you more than you're willing to pay. So our final card here, the seventh card, is the energy or characteristic from this past life you should channel. And it's interesting because we have 10 of cups.
And what was that position again? That what
It's
I
an energy or characteristic from your past life you should be channeling into this life.
channel through this life.
Right.
Okay.
Which I feel
And does
like you
that
already
kind of
do, because it's a 10 of cups. So I just knowing what I know about you and how you're very family oriented, and you got your dad and you got your kids, and it's like that is you right now, right? So it's like, it's interesting because usually these readings are like giving someone something. Here I think it's
Mhm.
just validating what you're already going through. So
Mhm.
I want to also look up that myth, because that 10 of cups, it's I think it's a
Yeah, curious.
Middle Eastern myth. I should have grabbed the big book
Interesting.
too. That's the other thing, is this just has like little blurbs, and where's the cups?
That's
There we
okay.
go.
Let's see if I even know this myth.
So yeah, so the little booklet just has like a little blurb, but there's a hardback book called Under the Moon, I believe, and it's like each card gets like a page, the full image, and then a page of the story. Um, so this, yeah, it's a Persian Arabic folktale. Dulnar the Seaborn. After many hard trials, Julnar finds a happy, loving husband and has a child. Her brother rises from the sea, which often represents the subconscious, to congratulate her and celebrate her newfound life. So it represents true emotional and spiritual fulfillment. So it's like, I think even though you had some bad things happen in that past life, you were fulfilled because, you were able to take on that devil energy and make things happen the way you wanted it to, even though you got burnt by the relationship, right? The world still ended up being yours. It's
That's
just,
very interesting also with the 10 of cups, because it's, you said that like the subconscious, like it's in
mhm,
two realms, like earth and water.
right,
And I feel like that's a big part of the work that I do, whether it's, channeling, and also family, and um family on the earth thing, with the family being there, that's
right.
an element, but also the spiritual work that I do, of kind of being in two realms, and
Well, and
that's
it's not
interesting.
just the
I was
physical
another brother,
family.
right?
You also have your
Yeah,
ancestors around you all the time. So
to the spiritual family. It's interesting.
yeah. So it's interesting too that this is the energy that you are
Like
meant
my
to channel
grandfather,
in. Exactly.
older.
And it's like, It's so funny too, because like I said, usually this reading is like a wake up call for some people, or like
Huh.
kind of like, oh, that's why that's happening. But I think you have already dived so deep into doing your own work that this is more of a, yeah, let's let her know that she's on the right path.
Mm.
Because it's like, it's interesting too, because it echoes everything you've been going through, what you've talked about in the past. And
And
so
I feel that, it's interesting that it's a 10, and 10 is like a completion. And I
mhm,
know I'm not complete, but it's kind of like when I turned 40, I was like, I feel like my life has come full circle,
mhm.
and now it can go up another level. Like, I don't know if you get what I mean. So I
No,
felt
yeah,
like,
I do, because I mean, just like she was originally from the water and then she rose up, I think you're rising too.
that's what I feel like.
Yeah.
And I was just, it just came to me with John Henry. I think it was the steam drill.
Stream drill, that's what it was.
Steam
Yeah.
drill only gave not, I'm remembering the song. The song always gave me chills. I didn't like,
No,
you know,
yeah,
I,
no, I was
I
right
remember
there
the
with
last
you.
line like stuck with me, and he laid down his hammer and he died. Like, I don't know, that always stuck with me. I didn't.
Yeah, some people actually were not very happy that this was in the deck because it's like it's a
Yeah,
pretty harsh story.
it was a very
I mean,
harsh.
it kind of fits the card in a way, but at the same time, it's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it like when I saw John Henry, I was like, because that song always stayed in my mind since I was a child. That
mhm.
when
I
I
think
learned,
it makes a big impression on all of
it
us
does.
going
It
growing
really
up.
does.
Yeah,
It
because it's
really
one of
does.
the few stories I remember of that and like the big blue ox.
Yes,
Right.
babe. Mhm.
And then of course, me being Jonathan, Johnny Appleseed kind of stuck in my brain too.
Of course.
Right. So, so that's kind of how I do my past life readings. And like I said, for you, it's like you've already been working through it. So it's more of a let's hold up a mirror to show you that, yes, you're doing the right thing. Um,
You know what's interesting though, Jonathan? When I did that live where I spoke with Andy and we were talking about when I had a experience that was witnessed by a lot of people, and I began like channeling and some, like I went somewhere else. I was
mhm.
like this, and if you remember, I said I was face to face, and it's in the book too that's coming out. I was face to face with a snake, a large snake. I was having a vision. And that's why like when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's literally like what it was like. I was
That,
just like that, except it wasn't coming from above. It was like literally I was face to face with it. And its face was so large, it was like the same size as my face. And I was staring into its eyes, and we were face to face, me and the snake. And I didn't know what that meant. But so it's very interesting that you just told me that, because it kind of like makes sense now.
mhm. It's that, it's that, I don't know. It's almost like I want to say it's your spiritual familiar from that other life.
Yeah, there's some
There's a connection there. Yeah.
it's something interesting to explore that I'll keep exploring.
And like I said, I took a picture, so I'll send that to you. And it represents you in in the past life. That's interesting because this was you in the past life. It's this card.
Interesting.
So, and then this was the unresolved thing, which is interesting too because it's the world card, which we don't usually see a couple on the world card.
Mhm.
So,
That's interesting, because a couple of the cards that you showed me, being that it's a couple, it's like two sides of the same coin or something. Like
mm-hmm.
it's like the conscious and the subconscious. It's like two sides. So we had the world card where it's like two figures,
Two
man,
figures.
positive, negative, and then the last card, the 10 of cups, and then it was also the fairy story.
Right. I was about to say, even this one was like the material realm and the fairy realm. So,
Seems to be an overall theme,
mm-hmm. And I was
like
just,
polarity or
I was
duality.
gonna look up this little, uh, so it's a New Zealand Maori legend,
Mhm.
And the world is the happily ever after ending following a difficult journey. Hinemoa and Tutanekai represent the victorious conclusion, the positive outcome most desired. However, a conclusion also heralds the start of a new journey.
Mhm.
Interesting. So it's so apparently these two, let me just pull up the card again. Were like it's a lover's story, but they like had to fight to finally get their happy ending. But their happy ending was the beginning of something, because I don't know if you see, they're standing on floating gourds.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I wanna look up that legend now, because it's like taking it back in my brain, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. But I think they're the ones who supposedly discovered New Zealand and settled the Maori, like the
Right.
first Maori, if I'm remembering right. I might be misremembering, but yeah.
Interesting. That's a story that I don't know, that I'm not familiar with.
I heard it once, like a long time ago, so like it tickled the back of my brain when I first saw it, and then I just couldn't quite place it. Like I said, I should have grabbed the book, because it's at least like a one-page little blurb. This is a Hindu myth, the Parvashas, I think that's right. And it's these five brothers.
Mhm.
Pandavas, that's who it was. Yeah.
Pandavas. That is very familiar to me. My husband's gonna know that one. I'm gonna have to go ask him when I'm off of this. That
Five
name, like,
brothers who embody unity in the face of conflict.
interesting. Unity in the face of conflict.
The
Hmm.
five brothers have been known to bicker and play fight, but they also care deeply for one another.
Hmm.
A resolution to their strife only comes from good communication. So
Hmm.
that's in that position, where how it's affecting you in this life is that idea that like you can deal with conflict with good communication, which I've seen you do a million times. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a big thing for me. It's very important to me.
Mm-hmm. So it's like the deeper we go into each legend, it's like just fits even better.
Yeah, there's so many layers to to cards like these. It's very interesting. Like when I got the Mythical Creatures Tarot or the Mythic
Hmm.
Creatures Tarot, which one was that, from Baba Studios? It's like you have the tarot
Right, I
meanings,
think
but
it's the
you have
mythical creatures.
the mythical,
Yeah.
and you have the mythical creatures stories
Hmm.
layered on top of it, and it's just it's interesting. I like those types of cards. It's cool.
I just I love mythology and folk tales, so it's like I that's why I just fell in love with this. I mean,
Mhm.
the lovers. I just looked at the bottom card. I always look at the bottom card, and the lovers is what there was, and it's the Beauty and the Beast.
Mhm.
So it's like I love that it's just like myth from all over the world. Like the Nine of Swords is the Oracle of Delphi, and the story of Oedipus, and how like the king's actions brought about his own downfall, because instead of raising his son in a loving situation, he like kicked him out and got rid of him, and that made him want to kill his father. Oh, I think someone's trying to come out. um, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions for that one.
Okay.
Oh, I think we went through that.
I love that it's just like I said, it's just a reflection of what you already know, because it's like it's so often that this reading like opens things for people, and you're so open as it is that you.
Thank I do, you know what, though? I will be doing some exploration with that snake.
Mhm. Yeah, I think you should.
Yeah, I'm gonna
And
do exploration.
let me just remind myself with that. So it's Boitata. It's a Brazilian mythology. Um, they don't go into the story very much here. Devil gives into the ego, lusting for unnecessarily or harmful things, unwilling to leave negative situations. It is a dragon sitting upon a pile of gold it does not need. A person setting a forest on fire for their own gain. So
Interesting.
and it's interesting because if I remember right, this is the myth behind forest fires in Brazil. Is that the fire snake Boitata sets the fires specifically for himself.
Interesting.
So I have to look up that I keep saying I gotta look up that myth. But definitely very cool stuff. I love this deck. It's like the more I play with it, the more like it unfolds for me.
Very nice.
So, do a quick shuffle here. And it's got myths from all over the world. Like I don't think there's a corner of the world it doesn't touch on.
Nice. Yeah, you know which there was one that you were backing on Kickstarter that I backed too. What is that? You know which one?
Is
And I
it
said
the Tarot? No.
Divine or something?
Oh, the Divine Deck Tarot.
Yeah, where it's like
Yeah.
very abstract.
Mm-hmm. Very, very pretty. Like
So pretty. I can't wait
and
to get it. I'm like, that's so pretty. I'm like, that's so my taste.
and I she has was it me sharing the book, I think?
It was a while ago. You shared just no
Okay, because
on Kickstarter, and then I was like, I'm backing that one. My first
it's
Kickstarter ever.
she just launched another one and it's the companion book.
The book, I saw it.
Right. And it's not just a book, it's a book, but it's also supposed to be a journal on top of being a book.
Yeah.
So I backed it.
I didn't back that one though.
Yeah.
But I'm contemplating.
I also shared that to multiple groups just because I'm like, if you didn't get a chance to get that Destiny deck, get it here with the book.
It looks like it's gonna be amazing though.
Yeah, she did you see the unboxing that she did? She did a little video with unboxing of her copy of the deck.
No, you know what? Didn't see that. I've been so busy lately that I'm getting emails that it's like it's not the divine. Is it the Destiny Tarot?
Destiny deck. Yeah,
The
the
Destiny
Destiny
deck.
deck.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And it's like updates on the Destiny deck, and I'm like, oh, I'll look at that later, and I just like keep
Right.
it in my inbox. But I missed that one, but I have to go. I have to
You have
watch
to
it.
see, it's like not only is it like this gorgeous like abstract art, but she included like little glints of gold in it. So it's like
All the gold, like it was gonna be that, like won me over. The beautiful
it's
pictures plus the gold.
gorgeous. It is gorgeous. Yeah. It reminds me of the Ethereal Visions tarot, just with that glint, right?
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to get it. I cannot wait. I'll do a live.
Right.
I'll do readings with that deck and see how it goes.
So I just wanted to draw one last card just as a ending card for you, and we get Four of Wands.
Four of Wands. And who is that? That looks Hindu.
It is. That's Sita and
Sita Ram?
I think so. Let me double check. That was what popped in my head when I saw it. Oh, no, it's not. That's interesting. It's
Because I was like, he does not blue.
so it's
Who is it?
Mohini and Aravan.
Mohini.
So a well-deserved celebration and a stable time to be thankful, cherishing loved ones. Mohindi and Aravan embrace each other, enjoying the time before the next adventure begins. So I think this is in reference to your book launching soon.
This is perfect also because you don't even know, but I'm into like journaling and thinking of things for myself. But my word for like since my birthday, like this, what I decided this whole next year is going to be about is going to be foundations and four, like foundations and the number four. That's what I decided myself, like not for astrology or whatever, just like the feeling that I was getting. So that card speaks to me perfectly of foundations
Yes.
and like just making
Stability.
strong. It was like whatever I want to make my foundation strong, not go crazy and go here, there, wherever. I want to just like strengthen what I have already. So that's perfect.
Perfect.
That was a perfect reading, Jonathan.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny because it's like I still struggle with what's a good term for it? Imposter syndrome. That
Yeah.
like I don't know what I'm doing, and they're gonna figure out that I don't know what I'm doing. So why am I doing
No,
it? Yeah, no.
you do know what you're doing. Trust yourself. I dealt with imposter syndrome like you don't even know. I was a yoga teacher for so many years and everything, and I was constantly doing that to myself. You don't even know, constantly, until finally I was like, everyone else is figuring out stuff too. Like everyone's
Right.
figuring something out. So
Everyone's out flying by the
that's
seat of
it.
their pants.
Exactly. That's it. That's what I realized. Every single person out there. So they're doing the same thing that you're doing. And you know what? If you're doing it from your heart and your soul, then I think that you're doing great. I thought that was an awesome reading.
Good.
You know,
And
if you're
I do
someone
know that
here
I know my stuff because it's not like I'm referring to the book for meanings. It just, it's just that imposter
now,
syndrome sometimes.
now
It
look,
goes,
this is what I think. Right. No, because it's also coming from your heart. You're also able to read it. It's coming from your heart. Now, this is where the imposter comes in. If like someone down the block was watching you do it and they never had any interest in tarot or anything, and they were like, "Ooh, he's getting some people. He's making some money. Let me just do it too. I'll just memorize what these cards mean and I'll just get these people." And like, and when you get a reading from those people or you meet those people, you get that feeling.
mm-hmm.
Like once I was sitting in an internet cafe in where was I was in Goa, and I was in an internet cafe and I see this guy dressed as a pirate. He was seriously dressed as a pirate for real, with a patch and a pirate's hat and everything, and he was standing outside. He was an American guy or Canadian maybe, and he was standing outside the internet cafe, and I was like getting real. I was like, he seems to be waiting for me, and my friend was like, no, he's not. Why would he be waiting for you? And I'm like, it looks like he's just standing there waiting for me. And I guess his friend was there, and he was going, no, wait, a few more minutes, she's gonna leave. And I was like, what is going on? So I walk out and he's like, hi, I have a message for you. I'm a tarot reader. It's $50 an hour. And he gave me a card, and I was like, I'm a tarot reader. Maybe I have a message for you. Thank you. You're dressing like a pirate and like stalking people, then you're an imposter. If you're doing it like you're doing it from your heart, no.
Oh my God, that's just. Yeah, no, I would never do something like that.
And you're not an imposter.
Well, and I have been doing it for 31 years before I even thought about taking money. So
You're an energy worker. You give these readings from your soul, from your heart. Anyone can see that reading that you gave me was so great. It just, even you looking things up fit perfectly.
right.
So it just flowed. You're not an imposter. You're a reader.
Thank you.
For sure.
So I don't know how much longer Zoom is going to let us stay on. So in case we get cut off,
We can cut it off now,
we're
or
going to cut
whatever.
off now. Okay, that works for
Whatever
me
you want.
because I should probably get Apollo set up for his meeting because he is getting a assessment or I think it's an assessment. I don't even know. It's a different teacher than his normal teacher, and
I'm a
I'm just
teacher.
like,
I totally know what you're talking about.
this distance learning stuff is just like, oh my god.
I know you have the in-person teacher, then you have the remote teacher. So when your child goes in person, they're going to see a different person than who's looking at them on remote, and then they're going to get an assessment from someone else, and it's going to be.
Oh my god. There's been zero in person so far here. So it's
Yep.
basically him and me in the house from like 8 to 2, me fighting him to get him to do his work so he doesn't have a pile of stuff to do at the end of the day.
Feel for you. I totally know what you're going through. I feel for you. I know. And
I'm just
everyone
thankful
else
I only got one.
who would be watching, I know I have anyone else who would be watching this. I mean, I've got parents at the school that have like 4 or 5 kids in different grades, and I'm just like,
How?
you've got 5 different laptops, and they're all trying to. Oh my goodness.
My son's
Oh,
school is giving out hotspots to people just because there's like certain families that got like I said, 5 kids trying to all be on the internet at once, and it's causing the internet to crash. And
yeah, yes, we're doing
so,
something similar. Yeah. So
but
yeah,
thank you, Amber.
thank
This has been a
you.
pleasure.
You too. And your son's in kindergarten, I think you
He's in
said, or
first
first.
grade. First grade, yeah.
That's right. That's right.
But probably should have been bumped up because he's like the stuff he's learning in school. It's like we have to give him extra stuff outside of school because it's just like he's bored.
Well, especially now with remote, I had to give my son a whole bunch of extra stuff
Right.
because the remote is just not.
Well, they
That's a
started
whole.
with
It's like a whole
kindergarten
other.
math. He's in
Yeah.
first grade and they started with kindergarten math because they're like, I guess they're trying to play catch up or something, but
Oh, you know what? Maybe because everyone was off since March,
right.
they're trying to do like a spiral review to get everyone on the same page.
Right.
That might be the case. That might be the reasoning behind why they're doing that.
I could see that.
Frustrating for your son who's
Right.
way
Well, that's
above.
the thing is like reading and writing, he fights. Like he does not want to do the reading and writing.
Mm-hmm.
Math, he loves numbers. He's like
Mm-hmm.
constantly just counting things for no reason other than to count them. And like
That's so cute.
he's 6 and he's already doing multiplication, and it's just like yeah.
So nice. Yeah. They should, I mean, they should loop, but I do believe that because everyone's been gone since March, they're trying to spiral back and just get everyone to first grade.
Right, exactly.
They're probably all over the place.
Oh, I'm sure because I know this couple, they have 3 kids, and since March, they just let their kids just run around and do whatever. Like, there's no teaching going on in that house.
That's what happened with a lot of some families are like all on top of it and doing everything. And then others, also parents have to work and they really don't know what to do. And so they just kind of
Right.
let it go. So many different circumstances.
So,
So
yeah.
you're
Yeah.
probably just trying to get everyone on the same page. Like I
Yeah.
said, that's a whole other Zoom meeting.
That's a whole other Zoom meeting, exactly.
Get me started on that topic.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, my mom was a 5th grade teacher, so
Oh, so you grew up with it too.
I grew up with it too. Yeah, and she's a Jew from New Jersey, so.
I totally know what you're talking about. Not to propel any stereotype, but
Well, that's what I grew up with, going back east all the time. New Jersey,
right.
New York. Mm-hmm.
When you talked about the Destiny deck, when you said it had gold on it, I literally said like, remember Coffee Talk on Saturday Night
Oh
Live?
yeah, of
Show
course.
like butter. I
Like
literally
butter.
I was like, that card is like butter. Like
That card's like butter. I'm feeling
like
verklempt. Talk amongst yourselves. The peanut's neither a pea nor a nut.
I'll give you a topic. Holy Roman Empire wasn't holy, wasn't Roman, wasn't an empire. Discuss.
Discuss.
She had the big nails.
Discuss.
I don't
Oh
know.
my God. Yeah, I know. Everyone else is gonna be like, "What are those two
What are they talking about?
on?"
Ah, I feel you. I feel you. All right, Jonathan, it's been a pleasure. I love the reading. I'm so honored that you gave me a reading. It's so
Oh, of
cool.
course.
I'm gonna take my time and like investigate the snake.
And I will send you that picture so you can look a little more in depth.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
of course.
Good luck with remote learning.
Oh, thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Have a good night, sweetie.
You too. Thank you, Jonathan. Aloha.
Aloha.
Bye bye.
Bye.